Hey everybody, welcome back to Champ and Sons and our Let's Play Planet Zoo series where we are continuing with our Austin Zoo and Gardens. And in this episode we are going to be working on the entrance, I guess you could say plaza. Really kind of trying to figure out the layout to this is the biggest thing for me. Because we are going to have in this episode, you will see one habitat be built for just a small entrance animal, and actually we're about to get started on that as I'm speaking, and it's gonna be for, you guessed it, which you probably didn't because I didn't tell you to guess anything, but it is going to be for the aardvark, which I kind of like how those animals are. They're small enough, they require a small habitat, not really too much has to go into them totally. So I think it turned out pretty well for having it on here, especially in the entrance, with it being the very first animal that we put out. It's something that's a nice draw, a nice attraction. Once you walk in, boom, there it is. It turns out pretty good. I really like how this one does. And so and we put it in here, like I said, it's a smaller animal. It's quick, it's easy. It doesn't require too much intricacy to it, so that was kind of the main motivation behind it. In this, I do want a lot of the habitats to be more open facing, right? And I put the dang entrance door the wrong way, but I want it to be more open so you can have an opportunity to see those animals walking around and truly, I guess I'll say, enjoying the space. That's kind of my thought behind it. Now here are just the basic kind of zookeeper things so we can start getting animals put into the zoo. I will go back through and you'll see me kind of adjust that out. And like I've said before, the idea of this zoo is we really took over an old, basically kind of like a community college campus. So some of these buildings that are more for staff, you are going to see look more traditional, I guess you could say college style, brick-based buildings, concrete-based buildings. Nothing maybe too intricate in that for the staff buildings. The other ones around that are for the people, we will try to, at least I'll try to get a little bit more intricate into those, making them look nicer, a lot more modern. Something that's a pretty good fit for our zoo. So that's kind of the theory of what we're going with right here, and putting those buildings there is just to get these animals placed. And it had been such a long time since I had been in here in this game, it took me a second to figure out how to get the actual animals placed in. I'm not sure what I was thinking, but it just took me a little bit longer than what I expected it would. Now my theory when it comes to building habitats is I really like to just set out the space, but then design the habitat for the animal, right? So animal welfare is turned off. It's sandbox mode, welfare's off. But I want it to be something that the animal is going to enjoy. I don't want it to just be something that, yeah, it probably does look really good, but isn't, something the animal would like. It's not something that fits their, I guess style is probably the best way to put it. At least it's the only way I can think of right now. And so that's what normally I'll do is I'll set out the perimeter, I'll put the animal in, and then I'll go through and I'll kind of just put everything in coverage-wise, tree-wise, the ground, a hard cover and all that, based more or less off the animal itself. At least that's what I like to think of it as doing. So right now that we've got them in, kind of got the planning around because they don't require too much. We are putting in our hardcover building, and I wanted it to not really stick out so much like a sore thumb, but it does need to have enough space that a keeper could get in there, could deal with the animal, could take them out, and move them around whenever they need to, right? So that was really the thought process behind putting in this type of shelter. And it is more still an open kind of shelter. It's something that I think leads to having enough space, keeping it open, but also providing essentially the proper kind of protection that an animal would need, and a zookeeper as well for whenever they have to interact with these things. So that's really the theory that went into this kind of hard shelter form. And I figure also another thing with the hard shelter is eventually the animal is going to get tired of dealing with people. I mean, it's going to happen, right? No way are these things always going to be like, yep, I want to be out with people staring at me. So give them a place to escape. It doesn't have to be anything too intricate in the end. Some of these are, of course, smaller animals, and so they don't need anything major, but they need to have their escape too. That was always one of the biggest things, is give them an opportunity to kind of have a place to get out and go away and hide out. So that's kind of what we did here. Now, I did want it to look good. Instead of just kind of throwing one up, I did have the idea of, well, let's make sure that while it's functional for the animal and keeping them protected, it also looks pretty decent for the habitat and everything that we are putting in here. Now, the aardvark is set, I believe, comes from, if you looked at it and their Zoopedia thing, is an African animal. That will be the next section that we are working on. So right now it's the entrance. In the next episode, you're going to see us start working on the African animal section. Now, that's going to be a beast of its own nature, but hey, we'll get to that once we get there, right? And so we're still just going to finish up designing some of the basic kind of look for this habitat. I don't want to have the whole lot of the grass. The idea is, you could walk right up to the fence and kind of lean over the fence and stare at these little things. Be like, oh, nice, how cute, lovely, and all that crap. Especially with kids and everything. You want them to have an opportunity to truly see these animals, learn about them, see them kind of up close. And so that's why, we put the fence out, put the path right up next to it. But also put these little covers. I think they look better using some rocks going. Every now and then, some of these habitats going forward are going to have more concrete based. But right now, it was a rock based habitat. So we're going to finish up kind of outlining this, and that will actually complete this habitat. And then we're going to get into our entrance plaza building. It's going to be kind of a goofy shaped one, but the idea behind it is that it would really provide a lot of, I would say, education for people. Like, that's the idea behind it, is that it does provide an educational aspect, so they can look at them. They can go in, they can get some shopping done. People get souvenirs, food, all that lovely stuff. But also has an opportunity to learn about the animals in the zoo and really about the zoo as a whole. Now, I didn't want it to be a basic design, square box building, so we are adding in some different angles in here. We are going to add in some different heights as well, and I definitely wanted it to be more of a modern looking building over something more traditional and standard. So essentially, taking over a campus like this, we would probably demolish whatever building was here and really put something else in its place. Now, I went with this kind of design. Was that more of a hexagon looking type of design with the wood? And I liked it, but one thing about Austin is you have a lot of open space, and so that's really kind of what led into kind of deleting some of these walls out. We are going to replace them with some glass walls. And actually, we're going to do a whole big old redesign on this building as a whole. But I wanted it to be open, right? I wanted it to at least provide that feeling of openness. Let's get it open. Let's have a lot of natural light coming in. This way you can go in, you can learn about the animals from some of the screens we're going to put up. And then you can learn about, like I said, the animals and get some shopping done. Right, so the hexagon shape wasn't really working for me, so I do change it up here, adding in some more of those round sections for the planters, sticking some things out, and I really like how this turned out over the hexagon building that we had. I think this turned out way better than our other one, so it's definitely an interesting build. It was fun to do, which is one of the best parts, one of the things I enjoyed the most about it is the fact that it was a fun build to do. And so that's one of the best things going into it. Let me know down in the comments, what do y'all think of this entrance building? What do you think we could have changed up on it? What kind of feedback do you have? I'm always open ears, and hey, if we can make changes, then no doubt we'll go ahead and focus on making those changes, right? So we are going to get finished on building this entrance building for y'all right now. And I am going to take a step away for a couple minutes while y'all go ahead and watch this happen. And I will catch up with y'all here in a little bit. And I am back as we are getting in some of these shops, some of the little detailing work going on around here. Um, I really do like how this turned out with that roof, the glass that goes into it, the way this is set up. I think it does the trick, right? It's, at least in my mind, it's more of a modern looking type of building. But the way the light feeds into it works out extremely well. And I started to notice something here, and this is why I'm deleting the path, but the building is actually elevated just slightly. Just slightly. So I'm going to go through, I got to delete all this path work out, and then I'm going to work to lower, I got to lower the building by about, I don't know, a centimeter or so, and put the path back in, because I want it to be at least level ground coming into the zoo like this. And we do have it that way now, so that caught me off guard just a little bit. But we are going to put up some screens all along these walls that don't have shops with them. So that way, people can come in, see, learn about the animals, learn about the habitats. And I really enjoy how this building turned out. It did take a lot playing with some of these walls and some of the fixtures, go through putting in a lot of the detailed work into it. Now here at the end of the video, you are going to see some other some basically cinematic shots of the first habitat we put in with the aardvark, the building here, and then we also did a habitat build off screen that you don't see, and it's going to be for some flamingos. My bad on just missing out on that recording. Sometimes in this game you tend to start building and you don't even think about hitting that record button all that often. So that's kind of what happened there. So once again, my bad on that, but you will see the cinematics of it, and we'll definitely catch up with it later as we get into doing some tours and this series kind of grows and goes on from here, right? So now with the building, you see us mixing some of the asphalt portions to it, right? So I had to do that because you got to figure in a structure that large, you're gonna have to have some support, and I just didn't see it being a complete glass, basically glass roof, like something that big. I just can't imagine holding up the glass that way with some bars going across, some support beams going across. So I did add in some of the asphalt going into it to kind of add some additional support for the glass. And so as we do have those support beams there, I think it works out pretty well to provide a functional thing, for our building. So that is one of the funnest parts about doing this. And then looking at for some of basically some signs and all that, wall signs, animal signs, it's kind of figuring out how best to get this place, because you want it to have some natural lighting, but also the lighting from the shops, highlight them so people go and they purchase stuff from them. That's the idea behind it. Seems pretty basic of an idea for marketing purposes to me, right? So that's what we're doing right here. Now we are going to add in a floor to it. We are going to add in some other basic designs. And once again, you'll see a lot of the detail work go in some of the tours that we do throughout the zoo. Okay. So we are getting close now to the end of the speed build, basically. And with that in mind, I do want to go ahead and remind y'all to hit the subscribe button if y'all have not hit it already. And if you do like today's video, you like Planet Zoo, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. It really does help out the channel, and I greatly appreciate everything that y'all do for us here at Champ & Sons Gaming. So if you have any feedback, anything that you'd like to see change, or any suggestions, let me know down in the comments, and I'll see what we can do as we go throughout the zoo. But I will go ahead and kind of let y'all go, and so enjoy these cinematics, and I will see y'all in the next episode, everybody. So as always, stay safe, and well, y'all know how it goes by now, right? Later, y'all.